Hey everyone, so you're building a website for your business, and it's time to pick a web host. This can feel, well, completely overwhelming, but it's also one of the most important decisions you'll make, because if you get it wrong, you're basically building your business on a shaky foundation. So let's cut through the noise and figure out how to find the perfect host for your professional project.
So let me just ask you straight up. Are you sure you're making the right call? It's so tempting to see a super cheap plan and think, hey, that's a great deal. But what if that decision to save a few dollars today ends up costing you your entire online business down the line? It's a real fear, and honestly, it's a valid one.
You know, the report we're digging into today really doesn't pull any punches. It says that going for that bargain bin host thinking you're all set to work peacefully, well, that's your first big mistake. So yeah, let's unpack that. Let's figure out exactly why that is and, more importantly, how you can sidestep that trap completely. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First up, we have to answer the big question. Is this a hobby or a business? Then, we're going to bust the unlimited myth wide open. After that, we'll dive into the three things that really matter: the engine, the toolbox, and the safety net.
All right, let's jump in. This is the very first question you have to ask yourself. And honestly, it's the most important one. Get this right and every other decision just kind of falls into place.
So it all boils down to your end goal. Look, if you're just making a personal blog for fun, your needs are pretty simple. A less powerful host is probably fine. But if this website is your company, if you're planning to sell products online, or if it's going to get a lot of traffic, well, you're playing a completely different game now. You need maximum performance, powerful tools, and total reliability.
So you figured out you need a professional grade host. The moment you start shopping around, you're going to get hit with this one huge marketing promise over and over again. Let's talk about the myth of unlimited.
Okay, let's just be crystal clear about this. There is no such thing as unlimited web space. It doesn't exist. It's a physical impossibility. I mean, think about it. A server is just a big computer with a hard drive. Have you ever seen a hard drive with infinite space? Me neither. So, what are these companies actually selling you? The trick is something called overselling. It's exactly like how an airline sells more tickets than there are seats on the plane. They're just betting that a few people won't show up. Hosting companies do the same thing with server space. They bet you and all the other websites on that server won't get too popular. But what happens if you do get popular? Well, just like an overbooked flight, things get slow and frustrating for everyone. So, instead of a vague promise, what you need is a concrete number. The report suggests that a solid starting point for a professional site is at least 10 gigabytes of web space and around 20 gigabytes of monthly traffic. And here's the really important part. Make sure your provider lets you easily upgrade as you grow, without making you buy a whole new, more expensive plan. All right, we've busted the unlimited math. Now let's get into the good stuff. The first pillar of a pro host, the engine. This is the raw power under the hood, the technical stuff that determines if your site is fast, reliable, and, actually works. We're looking for three key things in our engine. First, unlimited databases, which power pretty much any modern site like WordPress. Second, something called mod_rewrite. All you really need to know is it makes your website addresses clean and friendly for Google, which is huge for SEO. And finally, a rock-solid 99% uptime guarantee, because every minute your site is down, you're losing money. Now let's focus on databases for a sec, because this is a big one. It's not just about how many you can create. The real hidden trap is something called hourly query limits. See, every time someone visits a page on your site, it pings the database. Some cheap hosts cap how many pings can happen per hour. So if you suddenly get a surge of traffic, your site could just shut down, cold, even if you have unlimited bandwidth. It's a silent killer for a growing business. So having a powerful engine is awesome, but it's useless if you can't easily drive the car, right? That brings us to our second pillar, the toolbox. This is all about the features that give you control and save you from those massive technical headaches. Your toolbox should make your life way easier. We're talking about an auto installer, so you can launch WordPress with just a click instead of spending hours on it. It should have cPanel, which is the industry standard, so you're not stuck learning some confusing new system. And it absolutely must let you manage all your different domains from one simple dashboard. And trust me, to really appreciate these tools, you just have to remember how we used to do this stuff. It was this whole tedious process. You had to upload files via FTP, manually create a database, then edit code files, set permissions. It was slow, and there were so many ways for things to go wrong. Now compare that old mess to today. With a modern auto installer like Softaculous, that entire frustrating process is reduced to, like, 3 clicks. And you're done. That's the power of a good toolbox. It makes complex things simple and saves you an incredible amount of time.
Okay, so we've got the engine and the toolbox. Now for the final and maybe most critical pillar, the safety net. This is all about protecting your hard work from disaster and making sure there's help available when you need it most.
A solid safety net has a few key parts. 1, an independent backup system, so you are in control of your data. 2, an integrated antivirus to hunt for any malicious files. This is totally non-negotiable. And 3, this one's crucial, quality customer support. I'm talking about competent people who can actually solve your problem, not just create a ticket and make you wait for days.
And look, if you think security is optional, consider this. All the way back in 2012, Google sent out warnings to 20,000 website owners about potential hacks. The threat has only gotten bigger since then. An integrated antivirus isn't a luxury add-on, it's an absolute necessity to protect your business from getting compromised or even blacklisted by Google. Which brings us right back to that core idea we started with. Saving a few dollars now isn't always a gain in the long run. You really have to think of your web host not as a monthly cost, but as an investment in the foundation of your business, one that needs to be strong enough to support you today and wherever you're going tomorrow. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about as you make your choice. When your website is your business, your reputation, your future, is it really worth saving a few dollars today, only to risk losing everything tomorrow? Choose wisely.